Hell yeah. Wyatt begins in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yo, welcome to Wyatt, and I'm your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. Brr, woof, God damn it, woof, 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 woof. Hi, I said hey. To all my YouTubers out there, if you like what you hear and if you like what you see, click all of those subscribe buttons at the bottoms of all of your screens. And because I know you loves me, I know you do. I'm a lovable kind of guy. Give me some likes. Give me some likes. And also, too, because I always like to know what you are thinking. You know what I'm saying? Please, email me feedback because I like to know what is on your minds. Well, today's Wyatt is going to enlighten and entertain the hell out of you. We've got LGBTQ plus rights activist, entrepreneur, and author Robert A. Karl on tap. He's here with his brand new novel titled Immortal. And y'all, it is getting exceptional rave reviews. So hi, I said hi. Let's find out what all the buzz is all about. So without further ado, Wyatt, I said Wyatt, gives a B&B a bold and bodacious welcome to LGBTQ plus rights advocate, entrepreneur, and author Robert A. Karl. Talk at me, my friend. How the hell are ya?
Well, hello to Mr. Wyatt O'Brien Evans, podcaster extraordinaire. How pleased I am to be here with you today, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Well, you should be pleased, goddammit.
It's an honor. I know.
Oh, thank you so much.
Your time is valuable, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Listen, Robert, my pleasure. You are such a good friend. You have helped me. I've learned from you. So I'm just so happy really to have you on the show. And you know what, Robert? Do you know what? Let me tell you something. You, my friend, you have just
walked right into that.
Let me tell you something. You, my man, have just released Immortal, your new novel, which is receiving rave reviews right out of the gate. How does that make you feel?
I'll tell you, it's a very exciting time for me. This is a new adventure. I love all of my books, of course. This one just feels different. It feels very special to me. And, you are well aware as an independent author that we wear many hats.
Yeah.
And for me, the best hat is when I'm actually writing, when I'm in that writing process. And this was so much fun to write. I can't even tell you, like, as the story developed, it just really entertained me. And I think it will entertain audiences as well, readers, So it makes me feel great to have people, number one, say that they actually understand the story and what I'm getting at. And number two, that they actually enjoy it. So I'm very pleased with the response and with the reviews.
Well, I'm going to read a couple of reviews later. And my man, you've birthed another baby. You've had another baby. Okay. Now, I always like to ask my author guests this. To tempt us, Robert, and to tease us, give us that 25-word elevator pitch for Immortal. So let me tell you something here. I'm going to count, and you better keep it in 25 words.
Inspired by Greek mythology, Immortal is a contemporary story about a gay teen who is in pursuit of it all: fame, fortune, and romance. And that's it.
Well, I'm so proud of you. You did it.
But
Yeah.
once I follow directions, usually I have problems with that, but I, I I'm learning.
You did very well, and we're going to get into Immortal later, but I just wanted to like tempt and tease our audience.
Mhm.
Okay, I gotta say, man, that the front cover art for Immortal is eye-catching, it's striking, it's fangulicious. It's fangulicious. I mean, and fangulicious means fire. It's Fiyah, fire. So I need to know, we know that as authors, right? The title and the cover can be essential marketing tools.
Mhm.
And I love this cover. It locks onto your eyes and just drags you in. So what was your muse? What was the thinking behind creating the cover?
Well, can I show the cover?
Oh, please do. Yes.
So here it is. And
Uh-huh.
the idea behind it is that in this Greek mythology, Zeus takes the form of an eagle and he pursues this beautiful mortal shepherd boy. And so if you see, there is an eagle there who is swooping down toward this beautiful young guy. And so that was the basics of it. And the idea is to convey not that it is a reimagining of a Greek myth, as well as to have what I think are beautiful colors, beautiful design. Everything about it, I think, is well thought out. And I think that the model is just beautiful. He's just a beautiful guy. And so when I saw his photo as I was searching for images, I'm like, that's the one. That's the one I want on the cover. So I think it came out beautifully, and I'm very happy with it.
Is he 18?
Yeah.
Okay, so when he gets 5 years older, I'm going to talk to you about his telephone number so we can have. I want him to be like 23. You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
got you. I got you. Yeah.
but anyway, Immortal is your first novel for young adults. Your previous novels are rather the Clubbed Trilogy, Drag Wars, and the Goldies. So, Robert, why did you decide to write a story for YA, the young adult audience?
There are a couple of reasons. And the
Okay.
first one is that I wanted to challenge myself to do something different.
Mm.
And this was a challenge because I had to restrain myself. In my other books, when two guys were ready to go at it, they really went at it. So here, here I had to hold back considerably.
Restraint.
So that was one reason
Okay.
to challenge myself to do that.
Sure.
Another reason was that I had read that publishers are cutting back on YA titles because they're
Oh.
worried about book bans. And this is a sign of our
Oh.
times, and this is a horrible, horrible message that we're sending out,
Hmm.
that publishers are afraid to publish books for young people because they're afraid that they're going to be banned. And I wanted to go against that. And
Right.
speaking of going against something, I wanted to go against the grain a little bit because I've been seeing a
Hmm.
lot of dark novels coming out.
Oh,
And
okay.
don't get me wrong, I love dark novels. I think they're wonderful. I think that they're filled with a lot of things that I appreciate in a story. But I wanted to do something that other people aren't doing.
Hmm.
And the final reason is that I want, I was thinking, who needs to hear a positive message about being gay more than young people?
So
So
true.
I'm addressing this to young people, even though, of course, anyone can read it. But I'm hoping to reach a young adult audience and have them hear that message from me Forget all the noise from people who are putting you down and telling you to hide, telling you to be in the closet, telling you how to run your life, and be your authentic self. So that is the main reason why I chose to write a YA novel.
This leads me to make a confession. You know what it is?
What's that?
I'm working on the sequel in the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series. In the title, I keep changing the name of the title, but it's going to be Nothing Can Tear Us Apart, Scorched Earth. And baby, it's going to be dark, but with the light of erotica. It will be dark to a degree, but the light of erotica will shine forth. It will shine forth to lead the way so you will not get lost.
I'm all for that. I am 100% for that.
Yes, fluorescent light, the light of erotica that will just lead you to your path.
And I hear you about changing titles. I changed the title of this a number of times, and I'm really happy when I came up with the idea of just calling it Immortal.
I like it.
And then the subtitle is The House of Ganymede. So, but I'm really looking forward to yours. I can't wait. Yours are always a trip.
Yes, in more ways than one. But enough about me, because this is about you. It's all about you, Robert A. Karl. Okay, look, everybody, I'm going to read 2 significant reviews because Immortal is truly an ambitious, meaningful, and critical work that needs to be celebrated. I'm going to read this one first. Later on, I'm going to read the Publishers Weekly. He got reviewed, y'all, by the Publishers Weekly, that venerable publication. I haven't been reviewed yet by Publishers Weekly. What's the problem? But anyway, we're going to deal with that later. But here's the first one that I want to read. Okay. And I quote, Robert A. Karl's Immortal, The House of Ganymede is a compelling genre-blending novel that reimagines ancient myth through a vibrant modern lens. Drawing inspiration from the story of Ganymede, the beautiful shepherd boy of Troy, taken to Mount Olympus by Zeus, Karl breathes new life into this mythological tale by placing it within the high-stakes world of global tech, luxury branding, and self-discovery. The result is a thought-provoking and emotionally resonant young adult novel that explores identity, autonomy, and the seductive power of influence. Karl does a remarkable job of translating myth into modern symbolism. Just as Ganymede was taken to Olympus, Jason, Immortal's protagonist, is lifted from his humble life into a world that demands sacrifice in exchange for immortality, not in the literal sense, but through the manufactured permanence of image, branding, and curated identity. The interplay between myth and modernity enriches the story, giving it both emotional and intellectual weight. What truly elevates Immortal is its treatment of themes relevant to today's youth, the search for belonging, the pull between authenticity and expectation, and the often invisible cost of ambition. Ultimately, Immortal is a smart, nuanced, and emotionally engaging novel that redefines myth for the modern reader. Robert A. Karl masterfully blends timeless storytelling with pressing contemporary themes, crafting a narrative that is as beautiful as it is brave, end quote. Well, what do you think about that?
I can't help but smile at all of that. That is just amazing. I appreciate that review as I appreciate all reviews. It makes me feel that people really can connect with this story, which came about like totally by accident. Can I tell you about how I came up with the idea, or do you have that for later?
Let's save that for later.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've got some questions.
I'll stick with talking about this review for a while, because that is one heck of a review. I mean, that's amazing.
In all seriousness, it is truly one of the best reviews I've ever read. be it nonfiction or fiction. It's really, man, it's a wonderful layered review.
That person sat and thought about what they
Yeah,
wanted to say, and they expressed it eloquently. What can I
yeah,
say?
yeah,
And I'm glad that it was my book that inspired that.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, now don't like break your hand, patting yourself on the back. Because listen, we do have the Publishers Weekly review that I'm going to read a little bit later.
Woo!
But anyhow, let's sashay down the corridors of time a bit so we can learn a little bit more about you. You've been here before, so this will be brief. But tell us, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania,
Oh, great.
and when I was after I finished first grade, my father got transferred to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So that's basically where I grew up, which was unfortunate for me, I think, because I would have done much better in an urban area in Philly rather than in Harrisburg, which was, we lived in the suburbs in a lily white suburban. I hated it. I hated it.
Oh,
But that's where I'm from. So I should stop talking about that already.
no, that's okay. I get it. I get it.
It was boring. It's boring in the suburban middle of Pennsylvania. It's just boring. There,
Well,
there was what urban life is like. That's what I like. That's what I've always been drawn to urban areas, but that's not where I grew up. So I'm from Philly, and I went back to Philly as soon as I graduated from college. I never left until I came here to San Juan.
right. Yeah, I understand because, and I can relate because I was raised in both the city and the suburbs, and the city just has a different type of energy.
Yes, it does.
Were there any cute boys in the suburbs?
Any what?
Any cute boys in the suburbs?
There certainly were.
That helps you right there.
Yes, that was that helped. That helped ease my pain.
I'm so glad, my friend. Yes. Speaking of boys, little nippers, tell us, what was Robert like as a little boy, a little nipper, like 3 characteristics, attributes that describe you?
I was very smart. I was, the good student in class. I wanted to please the teachers. I'll be honest, I liked being at school better than I liked being at home.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Because at home, I was I come from a large family. At school, I felt like I got more attention than I got at home, to be honest with you.
Got it.
So that's one of the reasons why. But, I was smart, I was curious. And just to give a little segue for what we'll talk about later.
Sure.
I loved ancient history. I loved Greek mythology. I loved reading about the Roman Empire and all that sort of thing. I was really fascinated by that. And I never imagined it would lead me to writing a novel like this, but here we are. So
Interesting. Okay. Well,
some of those Greek stories can be pretty racy. Even when they're teaching it to you in the 6th grade, it intrigued me.
I wish I had Zeus's telephone number right now. I'd call him. I'd call Zeus.
Zeus was the king of the gods. I mean,
Yes, he was.
any better than that?
Anyhow, let us fast forward and let me ask you, Robert, what compelled you to become an author? What was your most significant influence and why?
I started writing professionally when the COVID pandemic hit.
Oh, okay.
And I'll be perfectly honest, It was all new. No one knew what was going to happen. I was afraid I was going to die. I never got COVID, but I was afraid just like everyone was with a brain.
Right.
So I had all these stories in my mind for years, and I thought, if you're ever going to write them down, this is the time to do it.
Absolutely.
So during the quarantine period, when I had lots of time to just work on developing the first story, I did so. And I also wanted to pay my respects to the people that I knew that were no longer with us.
Okay.
The Club series is filled with characters that are based on people that I knew, and some of it is based on my own experiences. So it was a way for me to keep that alive. That was the initial reason for me to write.
Got it.
And to share the stories. And I'm still worried about LGBTQ history being erased because it's happening right now.
It is.
Like they are literally erasing our history as well as Black history.
True.
And I'm sure
Yep.
what's been going on with this current administration. It is horrendous. And some of us have to stand up and fight against that. And I'm committed to being part of that struggle.
Likewise, you're absolutely right, Robert. Okay, why do you fervently believe, Robert, that the universe needs to hear your particular voice?
I'm sorry. Would you repeat the question?
Oh, sure. Why do you fervently believe that the universe needs to hear your particular voice as an author, as a writer?
I think that I have a good perspective. I can give an overview and I can go down into the minute details as well. And I think that I have a good way of telling stories. Pardon me if I sound like I'm full of myself, because I'm really not. However, when I read what I've written, I like it.
Yeah.
And I want to tell stories that I like, and hopefully other people feel the same way. So as a gay man from a certain time period, I'm providing a perspective of exactly that. Today's young gay people don't have the same experiences. I am worried that they're going to start going through a lot of what we went through,
Right.
which is, being disappeared from society. Try and find a movie or a TV show where someone was openly gay in a relationship from back then. You won't find it. Sure, there were gay actors and there were gay characters, but they never, ever really said it. I didn't know what it meant to be gay when I first was coming up. I felt a certain way. I didn't know how to express it because I didn't know what it was, because I didn't see it anywhere.
Absolutely.
So I think I have a hard time thinking about the universe, but I like the phrasing of the question because it makes me think large. I definitely want my voice to be heard because I have a unique and valid viewpoint of everything that's going on. And I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind, So I just tell it like the way I see it.
That was really seriously a great nuanced answer. And my audience, let me tell you something. Our guest is not full of himself. He is a talented writer and he's an amazing author. So, okay, now look, let's.
I got to pat myself on the back again.
And don't break your hand doing it, please. You need both those hands to continue to write your many more novels that are coming. Anyway, it's time to delve into Immortal and that pretty boy that is on the front cover. Okay, please give us the full synopsis. Tell us everything you want us to know about Immortal.
Well, Immortal is really a story, again, inspired by Greek mythology. But I thought, let's bring it into the 21st century. And I've read retellings of the story, but I haven't read or seen any reimaginings of the story. So what I did was I thought, in ancient Greek times, who had all the power? They had the gods of Olympus.
Right.
Who has all the power in our society? It's the billionaire class. They rule us, and they try to do it like or they used to try to do it behind the scenes, but now they're very open about it. We control you. We want you to know that you're under our control. So anyway, I came up with this idea of Zeus, a billionaire, and I wanted to somehow tie in the idea of being immortal. And so I was thinking, well, people who are trying to keep their youth use beauty products to do so, as well as other surgical enhancements, et cetera. But I wasn't going to go into that. So I thought, well, if we have this billionaire deciding that he's going to promote this line of men's cosmetics, and he needs someone to be the face of the house.
Clever.
So this young guy who's just a regular teenager in high school, he doesn't even realize that he's beautiful. He is selected to be what Zeus calls his Ganymede. But Jason doesn't even realize what it means to be a Ganymede because he doesn't do thorough research. So he's a little bit confused when Zeus says to him, well, I'm considering you to be the face of Ganymede. And so the part I'm going to read is about when he's talking with his mother about what it means to be a Ganymede. So anyway, the setting is in Niagara Falls, which I did because I wanted a change of scenery. All my other novels were in Philadelphia, and I wanted to move away. So I picked Niagara Falls kind of randomly, but also because this Zeus has a company that's involved in artificial intelligence, and they need a lot of power, and Niagara Falls can provide a lot of hydroelectric power. So there's all this, I did a lot of research about what it's like at Niagara Falls. In all honesty, I have never been to Niagara Falls in my life, but it's beautiful from what I see, and I learned a lot doing research about the area. And not only is Jason pursued by Zeus, he's also pursued by a young man who falls in love with him. And so there's a basic romance in the story as well. So there's a teen romance, there's the older billionaire pursuing Jason to be involved, and Jason has a lot of decisions to make. He has a lot of growing up to do, and the book takes place in a very short period of time. It only takes place from the first day of school in 2025, actually, so it's a little bit in the future if you really think about it, till October of 2025, and so it's a very short period of time, but a lot happens. And there's lots of twists and turns and a lot of unexpected things that I think readers will really enjoy. So that's the big picture of Immortal.
Yo, yes, you will. You're going to like everything in that book. That book is just like, as they used to say in the 50s, like the cat's pajamas. It's just fire. It's just. Anyway.
There's a lot that happens.
Yeah, baby, it's popping all over the place. But anyway, let's play the trailer for Immortal. Can we do that?
I love this trailer. This really captures the essence of the book. So please go ahead.
All right, let's play it. Robert, that was a very, very nice trailer. It says a lot.
It does. It takes you from ancient times to modern times. It touches on the myth, it touches on the romance, and it touches on the whole idea of like what is going to happen to people? What is your fate? So it touches on all of those parts that the novel encompasses. And I think that the person who made that video, I gave them some ideas for it, but I didn't create that video on my own. I got somebody to do it for me because I used to be good at technology, but now it's left me far behind. So I couldn't create that. But they really did an excellent job. I just think it really captures everything, and hopefully it captures the eye of readers who will be interested in learning more about the story.
It's a really great video. Okay, we want you to do a reading of Immortal, but before you do, I want to move on to that Publishers Weekly review. And everybody, this is really a big deal because Publishers Weekly has published continuously without a break since 1872, and is like the Bible for the book world. I mean, it's such a prestigious, renowned trade publication for authors and librarians, booksellers, literary agents, et cetera, et cetera. So here we go. This is from Publishers Weekly, and I quote, Immortal is a bold and poignant queer young adult reimagining of the Greek myth of Ganymede. Author Robert A. Karl weaves Greek mythology and its characters into this moving modern day tale of full of romance, self-discovery, and urgent contemporary social issues. A shot at glamour doesn't insulate Jason, the protagonist, from facing the wrenching challenges of growing up today, as the story touches on suicide, pregnancy, and school violence. Karl notes that Jason often considered himself unworthy of any attention at all, a moving dilemma for any young person in a culture that rewards the public performance of self. Such doubts will resonate with young readers as the cast faces overwhelming stress, both everyday and mythological, as their lives intertwine, the suspense builds, and Karl stages a shocking climax. End quote. That is a great review.
I love it. I just love it. I couldn't believe it when I read it. I was on pins and needles. But I am thrilled that they really gave it a good review.
They did.
And I appreciate it so much. It will appear in the magazine.
Oh, great.
In July.
Okay.
July 21st. Right now, it is available on their website. So, as you alluded to, a lot of people access that.
Yeah.
A lot of people who are looking for things to read, in various categories. And I'm just over the moon about that because and you're right that these are the professionals in this field, and for them to compliment me, I'm very excited about it.
Definitely, because I always, every week, I access the New York Times bestseller list and Publishers Weekly. So, yeah, this is, again, man, congratulations, because
Thank you.
This is one hell of a big deal. Okay, so would you do us the honor of performing a reading from Immortal? Before you do, just give us like the setup.
Okay, the setup is that Jason has just been approached by Zeus. Jason works at a diner with his mother, and so Zeus brought his people over to kind of check Jason out to get their opinion, because he saw him and thought, gee, I really think this guy could be our Ganymede. So he brings his people over and they all agree. And Zeus sets up a meeting with Jason. And so here Jason is talking about it with his mother right afterward. I'm going to take my glasses off so I can read better. Later that night, Jason came out of his room, taking a seat on the sofa next to his mother, who was crocheting a blanket to be donated to the local veterans center in honor of her deceased husband. That's a beauty, Jason assured her. Almost finished, right? Almost, Cupcake. Want to watch a show with me for a while? Sure, Mom. What's your pleasure, a rom-com? Or the reality one where the housewives sit around bitching about their lives while they're in the lap of luxury? Katrina laughed. I love those housewives. They're so real, causing both of them to laugh at the absurdity of her statement. Just put on something. Cupcake's choice tonight, she said, smiling sweetly, continuing to work on her project. I want to talk to you anyway, she continued, growing serious. What was going on with you and the men from Zeus tonight? It was kind of weird, like an audition or something. I'm not sure what they were talking about, but at the end, Zeus said he was thinking about naming me as his Ganymede. What's a Ganymede? I had to look it up. It's a moon of Jupiter, you know, the planet. Oh, Cupcake, I don't know much about astrology. Or is that astronomy? I get those two mixed up. Jason laughed. It's astronomy. The other one is when you read your horoscope each morning. Don't act like you don't read yours too. Besides, since we're both born Aquarius, our horoscopes are the same every day. True, and guilty as charged. I like to read them though, just for fun. So what do you think they mean about giving you that name? His mother asked. I'm not sure, but I've been thinking about it. Like, what do I have in common with a moon? It's kind of an insult, I think, because a moon doesn't create heat or light. It reflects it from a different source, like the sun. So if Zeus thinks I'm going to reflect his light, like he's the sun and I'm just a moon, do you think that's a compliment? Well, maybe not, but at least he doesn't want to name you after a comet or a distant galaxy. A moon is close to its planet, right? Yes, that's a good point. But the other thing about a moon is that it revolves around the planet. It's a follower, not a leader. Maybe you can ask him to name you Mars. That's a planet. Just don't let him name you the same as that other planet with the weird name. Jason thought for a second, naming the planets in his head. Oh, I get it. No, nobody will ever name me Uranus. You can bet the house on that. Katrina, deep in thought, ignored the joke. After a few moments of silence, Katrina added, why is he even talking about changing your name? Did you say something about not liking yours? Were you thinking about changing it? No, nothing like that. I like my name, Jason Masters. It's a cool name. Yes, but remember, your father changed his name because he wanted to be more American. And besides, nobody could pronounce his last name, not even me, she laughed. You could have been named Jason Mastrogogiannis, she added, pronouncing the name perfectly, contradicting herself. That wouldn't have been so bad, though I like the name he chose better. I have to admit that. But is there anything wrong with having your name changed, he asked. I think it depends on the reason for the change. There are good reasons and there are bad reasons. What would be a bad reason? Well, if you're trying to evade the law, I guess, or maybe to get away from something like paying alimony. Men try that, you know. Then what's a good reason? Well, sweetie, some people change their names to better reflect who they truly are. I'll give you one example. You know Maria, who works at the diner. She changed her name? No, not her, her child. His name was Mario, and now her name is Margarita. That name represents her true nature. You understand? Jason leaned over, placing his arm around his mom's shoulders, holding her tightly. Yes, he whispered, I do understand. So that's part of how Jason is contemplating the idea of changing his name. And there's a lot of discussion about changing names and making changes because it's an important decision that Jason has to make, whether he's going to change his name to Ganymede or not. And we'll leave it to readers to find out how that all falls out in the end. But I like that because his mother, to me, it's a very simple, natural conversation between a mother and a son. Like I could picture two people having that conversation. Jason's a little bit confused, and later on he finds out what the story of Ganymede is really about, and that influences how he proceeds in the story.
Thank you for that. I like that. You know what? I used to date a guy. His name was Mars and Neptune, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, that's for another show.
Okay.
Robert, let's talk about your writing process for Immortal, from researching, planning the structure, drafting the text, revising, editing, and proofreading. And how long did it take from conception to publication?
Well, the actual writing takes me about 6 months.
Right.
I wanted this to be different. Remember, I wanted it to be different than my other books. So when I first sat down and wrote the first paragraph, I fell into my usual style of writing in the first person. And I went back and changed it because this time I'm using a narrator, and this book is written in the third person.
Got it.
So that was a whole change for me. I also don't have a plot outlined, ever. I never do that. I can't. The story pours out of me as I'm writing. So I had this idea of Ganymede. And let me tell you how I came up with the idea, because to me it's interesting. Because I really didn't know the story at all. I watched a movie titled Ganymede. And it's actually a very good movie about a teenager who is struggling with his gay identity. He's trying to repress it.
Okay.
And his family and his minister are trying to force him to be straight rather than to be gay. And the minister says to him, because he has this gay friend in high school, he says, "Your friend is a Ganymede." And the teenager goes, "Well, what's a Ganymede?" And the minister says, "A Ganymede is an unrepentant homosexual." And I'm like, "What?
Well,
What do you mean?" So that character was saying that any openly gay person, which is an unrepentant homosexual, we're not trying to hide it, we're embracing it, is actually a groomer. That's what this character is saying, that this Ganymede is trying to convince you to be gay because you're not really gay.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, the boy in the movie really struggles with that, but that got me thinking about, like, what is a Ganymede for real? Because I never heard of a Ganymede as an unrepentant homosexual. That was a character in a movie saying that. So I started researching what is Ganymede? Who is Ganymede? And that's when I found out this story about Zeus and the mortal being kidnapped, et cetera, et cetera. And so I did a lot of research with that. That movie just touched on the Greek mythology. They barely mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
But I read another book where they didn't reimagine it. They retold the story of Ganymede. So I got a lot of insight by reading that book. Okay. And I also did a lot of research, like I said, about Niagara Falls, because I didn't know that area. So as I'm writing, things just kind of fell into place. Like from the very beginning, I just called him Jason for no real reason. The name just came to me. But later on, as his father is talking to him from the past in the form of a letter, and he's talking about changing his name. And so Jason is thinking, well, my father changed his name. My mother told me about somebody changing their name. So maybe I can change my name. And so these different influences come to bear.
Interesting.
Anyway, as I'm writing and editing,
Mhm.
the plot just kind of falls together, like with all these amazing coincidences that I didn't plan ahead of time. But
Mhm.
somehow the story really connects all these various parts. And like they say in that review, it comes to this shocking conclusion, which I just love about it.
Mhm.
And it's totally unexpected, but I have given hints along the way because it's not a mystery. I'm not
Mhm.
trying to fool people, but I am building to this climax, which if you're paying attention, this is the way, well, it could have ended any of 1,000 ways, but I chose to end it in a certain way, which really I find very satisfactory. So,
Mm.
oh, and for people who want to write, you ask about advice,
Yes, definitely.
write your truth. That's what I really believe in. Like,
Mhm.
write your truth, and no matter what genre it is, because it doesn't have to be your story,
Right.
but it's something that you're passionate about and that you believe in, and something that if you want to write something purely for entertainment purposes, then think about what entertains you and then go for it. You know, editing is like the worst part.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
going to tell
true.
you something that
Yeah.
maybe I shouldn't, but I will.
Tell us, tell us, tell us.
After I got my printed copy, I found a word that was incorrect because I contradicted
Oh.
myself later on in the book.
Mhm.
It was a very minor detail, and people who have read the wrong version have not even mentioned it to me. So
Oh.
I know that it didn't catch their attention, but it caught my attention. Unfortunately, when I try to upload things to Amazon, I
Mm.
sometimes have difficulty because for some reason, even though I changed one word in the manuscript,
Mhm.
it wouldn't accept the revised manuscript
Oh.
over and over and over. It was driving me crazy because in the meantime, the old version is still available for for people to buy. And I'm like, oh my God! And I
Oh.
struggled and struggled, and then finally it went through, and it was such a relief. I'm not going to tell you what the mistake was, just that it was torture. That was torture for me to not be able to correct the mistake because for some reason Amazon wouldn't let it go through. And I don't know what the reason was, but it took days. It took days for it to
Mm.
work. So I was going through a horrendous period of, so when writers talk about struggling, that was my personal struggle with this book, trying to correct that one mistake that I had made. But it is corrected now, so I can relax with it and not worry about it.
Well, Robert, we appreciate your diligence. Your diligence. Oh, 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 before I forget, let me mention this that Mars and Neptune and I once spent a weekend at Niagara Falls. I almost forgot to mention that. But anyway,
Oh, how
it
wonderful.
was so nice, but that's another
Did you
story.
stay in one of those hotels with the heart-shaped beds?
How did you know?
I think that's all they have in Niagara
I
Falls.
know.
No, I'll tell you, I there are lots of beautiful places in the United States, and some of them are under attack right now,
Mm,
if you've been keeping up with the news.
yeah.
So I'm happy to have explored that area, even though I did it virtually, and to get to know it. And I'm glad to know that you and Mars and Neptune, and I won't ask what your name was, but I have a name in mind.
And I don't want
Don't answer that.
and I don't
Don't
want to
answer.
know it. But anyhow, let's pivot a little bit because you are an entrepreneur. You're the owner of Club Pride.
I am.
Tell us about that.
Club Pride started as a reaction to places like big retailers like Target and things like
Yeah.
that, removing Pride merchandise due to pressure from right-wing groups.
Mm.
So I thought, well, I could sit here and moan about it,
Yep.
or I could do something. So I looked into what it takes to create a store, and I decided to do it.
Wow.
Let me show you an example,
Please.
because I'm wearing this. This is my fabulous Frenchie, and this is in honor of Jason has 2 French bulldogs in the story. So, but this is available on Club Pride. Not everything has to be a rainbow flag, but let me show it again. That is one fabulous French bulldog
I like
with
that.
his pink flamingo and his scarf, and I just think he's beautiful. But so I want to provide an opportunity for people who can't purchase things
Right.
in a store, because there's less and less of it. And in social media this year, I saw conservatives celebrating the fact that Target doesn't have a pride display, and my response to them, well, Target also has a lot fewer people walking into their stores now, because I know a lot of people are
Absolutely.
boycotting and
Yep.
their profits are hurting. So if you want to be happy that they don't have a pride display, you go ahead and you be proud of that. But I'm going to be glad that people are talking with their pocketbooks and their wallets and keeping them closed when it comes to places that treat us like that, because I refuse to be treated like that.
Absolutely. And we're
So
so
I'm providing an alternative. If anyone wants to check out the merchandise, I'll just give a little plug here. It's
please.
clubpride.org. Go to clubpride.org. Check out the merchandise. People love what they get. I get very nice letters about the merchandise, the quality. The colors don't wash out after one washing and things like that. So
No.
we're very happy with the merchandise. And I'm happy to provide it. I think we need things like that in
We
our
do.
community. So I'm trying to contribute in my way. So thank you for bringing it up.
Oh, certainly. And Mars Neptune is very wealthy. So after the show is over, I'm going to call him, and he's going to place quite a few orders. So listen.
Wonderful.
Yes, yes, yes. So don't even worry about it, because he likes stuff like that. But anyway, swinging back to Immortal, Robert, what message do you have for your readers about it? What are some of the takeaways?
It was written for young adults, but any adult can appreciate this story. It's a beautifully put together story about contemporary issues. So I don't shy away from things. There is a content warning for violence and for suicide. And that's the first time I ever put a content warning in a book, because it's actually
Yeah.
for young adults.
Right.
And I do want to take a different approach. And readers will really feel a connection, I think, with these characters, in particular, the young ones. Because Zeus, of course, he's an entity unto himself. He's in a different world. He's in a different atmosphere. You will find that several of the characters are very old-fashioned in their thinking about how women should be treated. Zeus, in
Okay.
particular, treats his wife as a trophy wife and nothing more. She's only there as a decoration. Jason is horrified by that. When he encounters that, he runs to his mom. Oh, Mom, you can't believe what Zeus does, how he treats his wife. So, and he's learning about the world, because he's not aware of really that kind of thing going on. And I think readers will find that the conflicts and the buildup and the tension between all the various characters really does lead not just to a shocking conclusion, but at the very end, there's a very satisfying conclusion that turns the whole meaning of the book on its head. And I really like that. I really think the ending is super.
Okay. Very, very good. Well, where can we, along with clubpride.org, where can we purchase all of your books?
Everything's available on Amazon. That's the easiest. Um, Barnes and Noble also carries some of them. I don't think that they carry all of them.
Okay.
I was actually a little surprised when I saw Barnes and Noble had Immortal there because I
That's
didn't
great.
submit it or anything. It just showed up there. So
That's
figured
good.
they learned about it somehow.
Yeah.
So it is available. And let me just say that I hope that people let me know how they feel after reading it, because you read two really great reviews. And I always take reviews into consideration. I appreciate that people take the time to write them,
Right.
to give them a rating, and I encourage people to do so, not just for me, but for any book that you read, because I know authors, especially independent authors, really count on people reviewing to help spread the word, because we both know it can be difficult to get the word out about independent books. But
Yes.
Amazon is the best way. It's available as a paperback and as a Kindle version.
Great. Give us all of your social media information, Mr. Karl.
Social media, what a bear social media is.
But you know what? You really work it very, very well.
And
So
I'm on there.
yeah, you are.
On Instagram, it's Robert Karl _in PR. That means in Puerto Rico. And on Twitter, it's rkarl, RKARL. And on Facebook, you just search for my name, Robert Karl. I'm on TikTok. I'm trying to learn how to do that with mixed success. But look, it's all part of the game. You have to put it out there where people are, and people are on TikTok. So I'm trying to make some inroads there. And my website, robertkarlauthor.com, robertkarlauthor.com. And my email address is on there. There's a link if anyone wants to contact me. I'm happy to talk with readers or anyone interested in whatever. If you have questions about the Club Pride products or anything, just shoot me an email. I'm happy to answer.
And of course, that's Karl with a K.
Yes, it is, Karl with a K.
Got it. Yeah. I really want to thank you for stopping by, Wyatt. You have an invitation to come back anytime you want. And everyone, Immortal is a truly exceptional novel. And it's something that I think everybody needs to read.
Thank you so much for having me on, and I appreciate everything you had to say about the book. Go out there and give it a shot. I think people will really enjoy this one.
All right, Mr. Robert A. Karl, they will love it. They will just love this book. Listen, thank you so much for stopping by, Wyatt, my friend. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yeah, so y'all, there you have it. You can find the official Wyatt podcast page at WyattEvans.com, the go-to destination for LGBTQ plus news, features, commentary, and entertainment. WyattEvans.com is visited by more than 100 countries on the regular. All I can say to that is, hey, baby. And at WyattEvans.com, you'll find my smoking hot, HAWT hot, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. And as you just saw on the top, the newest installment is called Shattered. I'll say it, Shattered. And y'all, Shattered is full of action, danger, intrigue, sexually charged situations, passion, and all of the wonderful elements that you're used to in the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. So get your new copy of Shattered. Now you can follow me, your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans, all across social media, and poof, is right there for you to peruse, like TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any comments or whatever, you can hit me up at wyattonair@gmail.com. So until next time, y'all, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. I said woof.